Kyle Turner is a special agent working as an investigator for the National Park Service. When a brutal murder is discovered in a remote area of Yosemite National Park, Turner is drawn into a tense investigation. As it unfolds, dark truths emerge that will test their trust in each other, their resolve, and their very survival. It all begins with two young climbers ascending El Capitan, the imposing rock formation that dominates Yosemite's landscape. Their climb is going smoothly, with only 300 feet left to reach the summit, when a young woman suddenly appears, plummeting from above. On her way down, she becomes entangled in the climbers' ropes, putting all their lives at risk. They manage to stabilize themselves, but are left shaken when they discover the woman's lifeless body. Park rangers immediately contact Agent Kyle Turner, who arrives at the scene. Turner is a reserved man, stern in character, and not well liked by many of his colleagues. Still, he takes on the case with diligence. The officers in charge suspect an accident, or perhaps a suicide. Newly appointed Ranger Naya Vasquez, only a few weeks into the job, informs him that the rescued climbers claim the young woman fell from a higher point on the mountain. Kyle dismisses the initial theories and decides to question the witnesses himself. He firmly asks if they saw anyone else at the summit, but they both deny it. A storm is approaching, threatening to wash away any evidence. Wasting no time, Turner rappels down to where the body lies. Examining it, he notices unusual signs, wounds on the legs, drag marks, superficial cuts on the skin, and a bracelet that accidentally slips off. As the body is brought up, something else catches his attention. From the condition of the body and the direction of the wounds, he deduces the woman was likely running from something. Exploring the area, he finds a fresh bloodstain on a nearby rock. During the autopsy, the coroner confirms multiple injuries of varying nature. A fall from such height makes it difficult to separate pre- and post-impact trauma, but one discovery raises new questions: a bite mark on her leg. It's too small to be from a mountain lion. It could be coyotes, or perhaps feral dogs. They also discover a golden X-shaped tattoo, and the bracelet, which Kyle recognizes with unease. He's certain he's seen it before. Clues are piling up, pointing toward one conclusion: the young woman had been on the run for some time, maybe from something, maybe from someone. That night, Kyle heads out for more clues and finds the bracelet again where it had fallen. He then calls his ex-wife, Jill. She answers groggily, noting it's 2:30 in the morning. He tells her that on Thursday there will be a meteor shower, the biggest in years. She asks if he's been drinking, and he replies that he was just remembering how they used to huddle under a blanket to watch such events, and wanted to let them know in case they wanted to see it. Jill simply tells him he should get some rest, and her current husband chimes in, remarking that it's surprising Kyle still doesn't understand the concept of boundaries. The next morning, Officer Naya knocks on Kyle's door. She tells him that Captain Sotter has ordered her to work with him, hoping to speed up the case. With a touch of sarcasm, Kyle asks if she thinks she's better at this than he is. She says no. Then she informs him that the young woman's fingerprints were run through the system, no matches, and she's not listed among missing persons. They'll keep digging for more information. Kyle asks Naya to check the park's employee roster. It's possible the woman worked there, though not in an office role. Seeing a photo of a boy, Naya asks if it's his son. He says yes. She shares that she also has a son, just 4 years old. Both she and the boy's father had worked for the Lapt, until a friend told her about a vacancy at the park. She thought a change of scenery would be good. They set out to track the young woman's path, hoping to learn where she'd come from. Naya assumes they'll go by car, but Kyle corrects her: they'll be riding horses. After a long trek, they reach an old cabin. Inside, they find a rope stained with blood. Naya remarks that the young woman must have been hiding there. They also find other blood traces and fresh symbols carved into the wood. When Naya opens a door, she comes face to face with a bear. Kyle fires a warning shot into the ceiling, driving the animal away. Outside, they continue until Kyle finds a bullet lodged in a tree trunk. He calls the coroner to ask about a possible gunshot wound. The coroner admits he hadn't noticed at first. hidden among so many injuries, but confirms the woman had just one bullet wound. This means she wasn't only fleeing coyotes. Back at the cabin, Kyle finds Jill waiting. She's there because of his late-night call. They talk, and Kyle asks if Scott is a good husband. She says yes. Kyle tells her about the young woman's case, how she had a golden tattoo and still no ID. He asks Jill if she's happy. She says she's as happy as she can be. Later, alone in the cabin, Kyle imagines his son beside him, the same boy who disappeared years ago and was found dead. That's why Kyle has never left the park. It's the last connection he had to his son. He looks at the bracelet from the woman's body and remembers it being given out years ago as a keepsake at a park summer program for employees and campers. That was a decade ago. Nia points out such items get discarded or passed along, but Kyle insists it gives them a lead. Nia suggests digging through park archives for the camp's participant list to find connections to current employees. She'll handle that, while Kyle tells her to also check for ties to local native communities. The next day, the news stirs public concern over the woman's death and the years-old disappearance of a businessman named Sean Sanderson. Kyle continues his investigation, deep in the forest, and finds some pills. The container bears the same X as the woman's tattoo. Nia keeps looking into the bracelet's origin, but Sotter shows her a box full of identical ones in the station. He explains they were stored in case of another camp and many were taken for kids' parties. Nia passes the info to Kyle. Meanwhile, Kyle questions suspects, including a drug dealer named Teddy, who sells to tourists and squatters. Kyle shows him the bracelet and tattoo, asking who makes such work. Teddy shrugs, it's just an X. But Kyle presses, noting the tattoo contains gold leaf. Too expensive for most artists, Teddy knows. Teddy admits he's never seen it and says it's far beyond his contact skill. Kyle forces him to find out more, threatening arrest. Jill later tells Sotter she's worried about Kyle calling her at odd hours. Sotter confronts him, angering Kyle, who calls Jill to tell her not to involve Sotter again. Soon after, an investigator representing Sean Sanderson's family arrives. She questions Kyle about the case, pointing out his leadership of the search despite no clear crime. She also asks if he was fit for duty after a prior leave for personal issues. Kyle says he was fine. After she leaves, he relives the harrowing memory of finding his son's body in the lake. The memory shatters him briefly until Nia interrupts, saying the toxicology report on the woman shows nothing unusual. Together, they head to a secluded area of the park. There they find a small settlement of Okubas, a mix of hippies, war veterans, and those living outside the law. Nia wonders if the pills could belong to someone here. Kyle says it's possible, giving them reason to ask questions. They speak to Glory, who tells them the settlement's leader, known as Grandfather, is on a spiritual journey. He could be gone for days, or weeks, depending on when he finds his center. Kyle dryly remarks that in other words, he'll be back when the mushroom trip wears off. He shows her the pill container. She says Grandfather may be many things, but he's no artist. Nia shows her a photo of the young woman. Glory doesn't recognize her. Showing it to others, one girl reacts subtly but stays silent. Tension rises, and the officers leave to avoid escalation. Later, Kyle questions Shane, a wildlife officer. Shane confirms a recent report of coyotes attacking a hiker but dodges questions about Grandfather. He hands over a bullet for comparison, his smile tight. Meanwhile, Teddy visits his tattoo artist drug supplier. When he mentions golden tattoos, the artist says such a thing doesn't exist. Teddy explains about the woman and the pillbox with the X. Irritated, the artist throws him out, then later texts him to drop the subject. That night, Teddy is attacked in his truck. The next day, during Sotter's anniversary gathering, Nia learns about Kyle's son. The boy wandered off during an excursion, familiar with the forest, and was taken by a man unnoticed. 2 days later, Kyle found him dead by the lake. The killer was never found. Kyle spiraled into drinking. Elsewhere, Teddy's body is found in a river. Naya discovers the woman is Lucy Cook, missing in the park since childhood. She vanished from her father's home at 7. Kyle reveals the case was his. They'd suspected her father Rory, but he was later murdered in a bar fight. Lucy's mother, Maggie, had worked in park administration until she died of cancer weeks after Lucy's disappearance. Kyle tracks down Lucy's stepbrother James. When James tries to flee, Naya stops him at gunpoint. He denies involvement and knows nothing about the Pillbox X. They get no answers. Driving back, Naya asks about Kyle's past in New York. He says he grew up on a Colorado ranch and prefers animals to people. In the park, the media swirls over Teddy's death. Kyle tells Sotter the murders are connected. Lucy had a bullet wound. Someone was chasing her. Later, Kyle meets with Jay, a native friend. Jay recalls Maggie and hands Kyle belongings found in her old home, including Lucy's drawings, ancient Miwok magic meant to ward off evil spirits. Meanwhile, Naya follows her instincts to the cabin area, finds a hidden mine, and falls into a flooding shaft. Kyle rescues her, praising her instincts. Back at the station, a man claims to have known Lucy as a child, saying she once lived in Nevada with a pastor's family. The pastor claimed she left with her real family. Naya learns from a young woman in the squatters' camp that Lucy's boyfriend involved her in dangerous dealings with Pacuna, an associate of grandfather. Kyle questions Shane again, who makes cryptic remarks about Lucy's miraculous return after 15 years. Later, Naya's ex threatens her custody unless she lies to clear his name. She flees with her son to Kyle's cabin. Kyle releases Pacuna without supplies, knowing hunger will lead him back to the hideout. The plan works, and police raid another drug hub in the mines. An explosion nearly kills Kyle, but they capture the leader. Several women are found dead, manipulated into suicide, all bearing Lucy's golden X tattoo. Lucy's backpack is among the evidence. Shane arrives suspiciously fast. Kyle confronts the leader, who's shocked Lucy is dead, and concludes her killer is someone else. When Naya's ex tries to take her son from Jill, violence erupts, and Jill is hospitalized after a suicide attempt. She later tells Kyle she paid Shane to kill Sanderson, the man responsible for their son's death, after Shane showed them video proof. Kyle, suspended after confronting Shane, keeps Lucy's backpack and unlocks her phone at the morgue, finding video of her with Shane, proof they knew each other. Kyle hunts Shane down, but Shane shoots him. Naya arrives and kills Shane to save Kyle. In the hospital, Jill admits the truth about Sanderson's death and reconciles with Kyle in shared grief. Determined to uncover the rest of Lucy's past, Kyle travels to Nevada, where he learns from Faith, the daughter of the pastor, that her parents kept children in their basement, exploiting charity funds. Lucy always said her real father was a cop who would come for her? DNA results reveal that Lucy was Sotter's daughter. Sotter confesses that Maggie asked him to keep Lucy away from Rory, and he placed her with the pastor's family. But Lucy eventually blackmailed him, demanding money. He shot her to scare her, but she ran and fell from El Capitan. Sotter kills himself before Kyle can arrest him. With the case finally closed, justice is done in Lucy's name, though the park's dark secrets remain. Before leaving, Kyle gives Naya a box of his son's toys and his horse, a farewell heavy with meaning. Kyle leaves Yosemite, knowing his son will always remain there, somehow, no matter where he goes. And so, the series comes to its end.